right. We are live and direct from South Zambia, and so we are streaming live among the Africa page. So, so I wish to take this time to just express our sincere gratitude to each and every one of you that has made the time to come through and join us as we officially launch, or rather kick off with the Smart Village Innovation Challenge. So without wasting much of yours and my time, I'll just quickly do a presentation just to give a brief overview of what the Smart Village Innovation Challenge entails, just for those of us that are hearing this for the first time. So just hold on as I share my screen. Okay, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, I believe that you're all able to see my screen. Okay, so just in case you're wondering what the Smart Village Innovation Challenge is. So the Smart Village Innovation Challenge is an initiative that was birthed from Wanga Africa Foundation, which is a Pan-African not-for-profit organization that is on a mission to spearhead and organize projects that are designed to enhance or rather bring the spirit of entrepreneurship, collaboration, and innovation amongst the young people. You do agree with me that as many young people as possible to engage in collaboration, in entrepreneurship, in innovation, because that is definitely the way to go. Okay, so what exactly is, then we have the Great Zambezi Initiative. So the Great Zambezi Initiative was birthed out of the realization that there were a number of challenges that that the countries in the Zambezi Basin were faced with, more especially when we were hit by the novel COVID-19. That is when most of the challenges that are faced by the countries in the Zambezi Basin came to the fore. And so this is when the Great Zambezi Initiative was birthed, which is really an initiative that is out there to enhance the quality of life, encourage innovation, entrepreneurship in the Zambezi Basin, in the countries that are in the Zambezi Basin. So we're talking of countries like Zambia, Malawi, Mozambique, to mention but a few. So that was, we have Botswana as well. The Zambezi Initiative was momentum. We deliberately decided to debate on Zambia and Zimbabwe as a way to establish our footprints, whilst we prepare for subsequent innovation challenges that are scheduled to come through next year. But for now, we decided to get up and get started, just like I mentioned, to establish some footprints in Zambia and Zimbabwe. So for a start, we have decided to get started with the Smart Village Innovation Challenge. So which exactly is what brings us here. Smart Village Innovation Challenge is proudly brought to you by we have Wanga Africa, we have Nyamuka Africa Solutions, we have Church Information Communication and Association of Zambia. We've got Impact Innovation Alliance, we have Buoyant Africa, Ambitious Africa, and Nyamuka Books, to mention but a few.
know, the way banks are also doing insurance. So the insurance companies are complaining that the commercial banks are eating into their business. So they formulated a working group.
Recently stated.
They want
Stephen, do you mind muting those mic?
But I've noticed they specifically asked for domestic trade.
Okay, as I was saying.
So they want 2 people from the
research by the World Bank has shown and proven at once that at least 60% of the sum,
in another department, we just do domestic trade. It's pretty much
it's domestic trade issue.
Yeah. So what we do.
So what that entails is that we only have about 40% in the urban areas. And now if you look at the rural areas, I think it goes with application that most of the rural areas are grappling with a number of challenges. Most of them are underdeveloped. Most of the rural areas really have are lagging behind as far as having advanced infrastructure is concerned. So it is on that backdrop that the Smart Village Innovation Challenge was birthed, which I must mention again is on a journey to have as many solutions as possible are brought to the fore, as many innovative solutions developed that will, at the end of the day, enhance the quality of life in the rural areas. We want to come to a point where, as a young person, I can confidently go back to the village and not feel ashamed of it. We should come to a point where living in the rural areas is no longer shameful. It should be. I should decide to go there because it's the quality of life there is still up to scratch. It doesn't bring any shame of me to live in the villages. So that was the reason why the Smart Village Innovation Challenge was birthed. Okay, so just like I said, because of all these different challenges that are in the rural areas, obviously we have things like we have a poor road network, the infrastructure there, talk of the health facilities, education facilities, the schools there really are in a dilapidated state. Most of the people there are not even able to have access to a proper network, proper health systems there. But now our solution is a Smart Village Innovation Challenge, which is an initiative which has been designed to encourage innovation amongst the young people in collaboration with software developers, technology students, management students, who are then going to unite and develop solutions that will, like I said, again, improve the quality of life in these rural areas. Okay, so the objectives of the Smart Village Innovation Challenge is threefold. Number one is to ideate solutions that are implementable to deal with the numerous challenges faced by people in the rural areas. Number two, to create scalable solutions that are to be implemented in the rural areas. Number three, to create a world where living in the rural areas is not deemed the case. Okay, so what tracks are we looking at and our innovation challenge? So number one, we have the education sector. Number two, connectivity. We've got electricity, agriculture, health sector, housing, energy, and mobility, to mention quite a few. So whatever solutions are going to be developed will have to be in tandem with these tracks. Okay, so for those that will be participating, what are the benefits that await them? Number one is an opportunity to innovate. Number two, the opportunity to build networks. I can mention for a fact that we have highly distinguished men and women that are present in this room, in this meeting. So all these are opportunities to build a network. Number 3, an opportunity to pilot and help the different solutions with the help of experts. Number 4, and lastly, which is to get feedback and validation. Imagine you are getting feedback from an expert who has walked the journey that you wish to take. Wouldn't that be beautiful? I think it definitely would. So our call is simply to software developers to come on board, technology students to come on board with their technology, the management students as well to come on board with the management aspect, the business side of things, researchers as well. We do need researchers to come on board because these are the people that have the hard facts as to which place needs what solution. So these are the people that we need. All right, so thank you so much. This has been my short presentation on the Smart Village Innovation Challenge. So at this point, I'll just quickly just share a schedule as to how this program is going to run. All right, so this is how our schedule looks like for the next 3 days. So today being a Monday, the opening remarks, obviously I have done the opening remarks, and then we are scheduled to, we should be having Mr. Sungano Chisina, Deputy Director of Operations from the Zimbabwe Youth Council. And then also we will be having remarks from Mr. Gilbert Chisenga, a representative from the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry. And thirdly, fourth, we'll have remarks from Madam Gabriela, who is the President of Impact Innovation Alliance. And then also we will have a keynote address from Madam Violeta Balk, who is an entrepreneur. And then also we are scheduled at 16 hours to have remarks from ICTAS, which is the Information Communication Technology Association of Zambia. And last but not the least, we'll also have some remarks from 4-2. And then just before we close the day, we will have a breakaway session where the mentors that we have on board are then going to get to understand the solutions that are going to be, rather understand the solutions and the ideas that the teams that we have on board are going to be gracing us with. So at this juncture, I wish to welcome Mr. Gilbert Chisenga, representative from the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry. So Mr. Chisina is going to join us a little later. So for now, Mr. Gilbert Chisenga, sir, you are welcome. You may kindly turn on your mic and your video and give us your remarks, sir. Mr. Gilbert, sir, you may take it up. Okay, I think Mr. Gilbert is having some challenges with his connectivity. Okay, I think we have unfortunately lost Mr. Gilbert Chisenga. He should be having perhaps some challenges with his connectivity. I think he should be able to join us a little later. Okay, so as we wait for Mr. Gilbert to come through a little later, at this juncture, I wish to then welcome Madam Gabriela, President of Impact Innovation Alliance, to give us a presentation. Madam Gabriela, over to you.
Thank you so much, Joseph. It's always a pleasure to be on events together with you, with Nyamuk Africa, with everything that you do, with your many initiatives, and support you along the way. Let's say remarks are just going to be very short, but regarding the overall work that we do and why we do this. So the reasoning of why we see ourselves actually so involved with so many African initiatives is not only to bring mentorship from around the world. And when we say mentorship, we really aim at those people who, with their experience in entrepreneurship, could actually lead those youths to a more coherent choice of what actually could they do with their future, and how could actually they lead their companies from their own words, perhaps by escaping some of the mistakes that we all did at the very beginning. And so how to actually have the type of a path that is still successful, whether it's big scale or small scale, but that is focused on the actual entrepreneurial journey that is personal for each and one of us. And so for the SMART challenge, I'm just extremely happy that we pulled out together mentors from Italy, from Tunisia, Saudi Arabia, Austria, UAE, the US, Brussels, Poland, India, Lebanon, South Africa, Finland, Zimbabwe, Egypt, and of course, Zambia as well. And so this is definitely a collective effort. I believe that the international spirit that we're bringing to it is crucial, simply because it's going to have a kind of, it's going to open the doors from the very beginning to all those who actually want to make something out of their solutions, because at the very beginning there needs to be a will from the entrepreneurs, and they need to be determined, because this is just part of the solution that we bring. So education and obviously self-determination are extremely key characteristics of an entrepreneur, and we're just extremely happy to inspire youth to work hard towards their entrepreneurial spirit. And I can bring actually today just a very short story on actually how impact innovation can also be a catalyst for identity transformation in the digital era. This was, for example, one of the topics that I've had at one of the many conferences with some of the universities. And what I've seen during my research and the preparation for this type of conference is just incredible, because I actually come up with the understanding that there is so little research when it comes to the generational differences. So whether we are talking about the so-called traditional generations, the baby boomers, the Generation X, the millennials, and ultimately the Generation Z, there is an enormous difference when it comes to the communication and feedback needs, to the working styles, the motivations and priorities, and as well as, for example, working values and expectations, right? And so in the digital sphere, so we're kind of living this also virtual intimacy. We need to be empathic even through a screen. And so this is very interesting exercise for all of us, because right now we're building virtual communities. So the online communities are now so strong that they can actually produce actual solutions. Before, this was impossible to even think that someone can create a medical device from a distance without even meeting any of the team members, and then just come together and meet all the other team members, and just in 10 days build a medical device from just the Zoom calls, the Discord calls, and everything that was up in that process. So when it comes to this, it's really a call for action for everyone in the ecosystem that I know that we are already building together, and to consider the many differences. So the generational differences. So it's going to be different, the motivation, and therefore also the communication effort that needs to go through different generational, let's say, communities, right? And when it comes to this, again, I really believe that through all of these efforts, we are actually building the new identities of Zambians, of Zimbabweans, of Africans in general, and we're building their identity in a digital era that is already set, a very big foot forward in many different countries. So I believe that in Africa, once we will be able to have a very specific project settled settled there, that with proper funding, we'll actually be able to set an agenda that is not just for 1 or 2 years, but actually that we can talk about 5, 10 to 20 years from now onwards. And given that we have so many interesting digital advances today, I'm sure that we will be able to actually bring the very best of the whole world right to the African soil and to all of your colleagues, so that you can definitely be proud of wherever you go, and that in any case, this really brings people together as well, and builds not only the virtual identity, but also the identity of, the future of the future entrepreneurs as we know them today. Again, thank you so much. My call for action stays always the same. So let's build trust, let's build quality education programs, let's support innovators through many different ways within Sirius Global Academic Diplomacy 4.0 and the Impact Innovation Alliance. We give a very big role to science diplomacy, because we think that through innovation, through these channels, we can actually put through a lot of brain power that can work together and that can channel let's say all of those efforts in many different opportunities. So let's tackle the challenges of our time together. Let's make it across different continents, and let's make impact globally and together. So thank you so much again for your amazing spirit and energy, for bringing all of your colleagues and participants together. I know that there is a lot of them, and I'm sure that they will benefit a lot from everything that we've prepared for them. So thank you so much again.
For those insightful words, definitely that has to action. This moment, at this juncture, I wish to call upon Mr. Gilbert Chisenga, a representative from the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry. Mr. Gilbert Chisenga, over to you, sir, and thank you so much for accepting our invitation to come and speak at our event. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph. It's a very good innovation. And as a ministry, I would like to indicate that we're so much proud of such innovations because of their anticipated contribution to economic development. In this regard, allow me to read a speech on behalf of our Director Domestic Trade, Mr. Sangwa Ngwira. And before I start reading the speech, I would like to acknowledge the presence of Ms. Gabrielle Macedo, President, Impact Innovation Alliance, and also the representatives from the Zimbabwe Youth Council, and also, I don't know whether it's Mr. or Miss Violetta Bock, Entrepreneur Eco Civilization, and let me just indicate all protocols observed. In reading the speech, I would commence by saying, ladies and gentlemen, I am honored and privileged to grace the first of its kind Smart Village Innovation Challenge, spearheaded by Mwanga Foundation, a Pan-African not-for-profit organization under the auspice of Nyamuka Africa Solutions. As the ministry, we have continued to work hand in hand with the aforementioned organization on board in numerous initiatives such as the Great Zambezi Innovation Challenge, the Lusaka Startup Week, just to mention but a few. And I would also wish to indicate that as a ministry overseeing commerce, trade and industry, it always gives us great joy to witness the rate at which more and more initiatives of this magnitude are being birthed in the quest to complement the efforts being made by the government as envisaged in the seventh National Development Plan and the Vision 2030. This is in addition to unearthing solutions to the many challenges we have as a people. Further, the enthusiasm in which people are participating in initiatives such as this is heartwarming and should be commendable by everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, the Smart Innovation Challenge, which is an initiative aimed at bringing young and innovative people to brainstorm and pilot the tech-based platforms for the said solutions to the main challenges that rural communities are grappling with. Further, it is interesting to note that the solutions will be aimed at tackling problems to do with, but not limited to, education, electricity, mobility, agriculture, health, and entrepreneurship, to mention but a few. Taking the above into consideration, the Smart Innovation Challenge could not come at a better time than now, telling from the massive disruption that we've experienced due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which, whilst claiming many lives, has had a negative impact on the economies worldwide, Zambia inclusive, worse off for the people in the rural areas. It is in this regard that I believe the continent is ready for unique and innovative solutions to curb the subsequent effects of COVID-19. Further, I believe having a multi-sectorial innovative solutions will go a long way in as far as the job creation is concerned, which will result in better and improved living standards for the people in the rural communities and urban areas inclusive. Ladies and gentlemen, I am convinced without a shadow of doubt that the Smart Village Innovative Challenge, if well executed, will enhance the quality of life for people in the rural areas, because the solutions that will be birthed will make it easier for the people to access better health, education services, whilst also creating, delivering, and sustaining value created in the economy. It is pleasing to note that the Great Zambezi initiative has been selected to participate in the EU Africa Post-Crisis Journal hackathon, further getting another opportunity to tell the story of the relentless and ambitious people as Zambia and the region. In conclusion, I wish to acknowledge and commend the partners to this, this initiative, the Information Communication Technology Association of Zambia, Impact Alliance, Sirius Global, Academic Diplomas, Zambia Youth Council, just to mention but a few for their involvement in this noble cause. We hope many more will come on board and make the proposed Great Zambezi Initiative Summit in 2021 a resounding success. With those few remarks, I wish to indicate and close by saying, may God bless you all, and Zambia in particular and the rest of Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chisengasa. It is heartwarming to note that we have the full support and backing of our government, and in particular the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry through your ministry. So please do convey our sincere gratitude to Director Mr. Sangwangira.
Thank you.
All right,
very
so
much.
at this juncture, we then get.
Thank you.
Madam Bonnet, you are welcome, sir. Rather, you're welcome, Madam. Sorry for that, and over to you, Madam.
So hello, everyone. I hope I understood correctly that it's my turn.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you very much. First, warm regards from Ljubljana, Slovenia, where we are in the winter season now, and it's cold and rainy, but all these startup activities that we are part of as well. Yesterday, we kicked off this EU versus virus startup movement, the last third phase, and now we're in Africa. I mean, this is the magic of technologies, and I'm very, very happy and really honored that I can address you on, I would dare to speculate, one of more challenging, but at the same time, really important topics for Africa. And my intention... Sorry?
No, you may proceed, ma'am. You may proceed.
And my intention today is to share a little bit the importance of political agenda to support such initiatives, because about 4 years ago, we started with Smart Village initiative on the EU level while I was a commissioner for transport. And together with the Commissioner for Rural Development and Agriculture, we launched this concept, and I am planning to show you a few of very important elements that can then really help this initiative to flourish from a startup point of view, from bottom up. But all the startup efforts cannot really be scalable without a strong regulatory presence as well. And of course, once you have a regulatory regulations in place and transparency and predictability of the area, then investors come on board as well. So allow me to share a couple of slides that I prepared for today's session. And of course, I'm more than happy to leave them with you and share them with you. I would also like to acknowledge here incredible effort by Gabriela and her entire team. I mean, this is really amazing what you're doing, and what you said, it's so much true that, of course, virtual communities are now by far exceeding any expectations, and things that today the startup communities can do, as you said, without meeting each other. It's really impressive, and I do believe that the new concept of collaboration, global collaboration, is emerging. We were talking until this COVID crisis that the only globalized part is really trade, and I can now confidently say that R&D and R&I, and especially the startups, are definitely part of this global picture now, very well positioned. Thank you also, Stephen for all really good coordination and helping me to be here well prepared and ready. So the first thing, let me just give you a brief snapshot of the roots. So as I mentioned before, we have recognized on the EU level that really villages are one of the core differentiating factors of European Union. And I could speculate that that is the case for Africa too. Villages are there, they are defining our culture, they are our asset to our overall performance, and the concept of smart villages really wanted to unlock their potential. And to really bring them on board in a coordinated and integrated way to address the climate change, the food issues, biomass, energy, and tourism, and all other additional activities that can be done with a good infrastructure in the countryside. So that's the first thing that it's really important, because these why questions, one, you can answer on the question why you're doing, you can start attracting on a really mission level, on a really intention level, many other partners. And as I said, it was a joint effort of many portfolios, which implies that this is really a horizontal challenge, and I'm inviting you that right now from the beginning you're already addressing it as a horizontal challenge and bring on board everyone who needs to cooperate in order to make it happen on a sustainable level. The next question, of course, that we asked ourselves was how, and we really dug deep into the tools. We used some existing tools, enrich them with smart village concept, and some we had to create from scratch, like common agriculture policy for rural development was a great part where we could just insert different mix of measures and attempts and needs in order to then have them present also in an investment portfolio. Then another one was EU cohesion policy. So whatever you're using to bridging the gap between the cities and this or developed and less developed areas in your country, this is where smart village needs to be inserted and then supported in the implementation phase. Then, of course, in our research and development and research innovation tool, which is Horizon 2020, and now for the new financial period, again, we have similar instrument, and we inserted a certain, we call them hooks for smart villages as well, especially in the sense of rural renaissance, or even bringing more knowledge and to villages, exchange of knowledge and exchange of good practices. And of course, the transport work program also included smart villages in order to be able to push for modern mobility, public mobility, which can be shared, which can be demand driven, and of course, through that, make it cheaper and more affordable. And the last but not least, this investment program for connecting Euro facilities and trans-European networks for transport, which again had this strong hook in it to be able to use this funding for connectivity with countryside, with rural areas, with villages. So because of this transparency and because of this predictability, because it was laid out for a period of several years, we were able to get more funding on board also from private and institutional investors. So the grants that usually were associated with the EU funding were then also enriched by different guarantee schemes, by blending financial tools, and that attracted, of course, institutional and private investors. So I'm very much inviting you that you think about that. I'm not saying you should copy, but think about that, see what it means for your environment, critically assess, and then what's good, keep, and what's not, add your own tools. But don't forget that if you really want to push for smart village development, you need regulatory support as well. And that brings me to what? So different actions to promote smart villages. Here is just a list that I hope will encourage you a little bit, that you will again have, you get inspired, like for connecting people within the area, within rural area and between rural area and the city, which this COVID crisis showed us how essential that is for the food chain delivery and for the healthy living. So we created different thematic working groups on smart rural businesses, thematic working groups on smart villages, different workshops to share the knowledge, to encourage people to get new competences that they could then use for a smarter organization. Because yes, you can encourage one service, one product, one new solution, but if you really want to get the whole concept going, we need to create safe space for engagement, for cooperation, for co-creation, this enabling environment with different pilot projects, smart specialization platforms, broadband competencies offices, for example, that we created, digital innovation hubs, and different horizon projects that brought together, as I said, rural and urban areas. And of course, research and development initiatives like hooks in that program were, for example, business models for more modern rural economies, future calls under the Rural Renaissance header, or data-driven bioeconomy, and so on, so on. So this is just to sparkle a bit of interest and to bring you on board to a broader picture that you are invited to create now at the beginning and not wait for later on, because you're going to be much more powerful when you bring your initiatives together and you can see how they fit together and where do they lead. So what's really the essence of smart village qualities? Technology, you will see, it's an important enabler. It's a tool. But what really makes a difference is that through your work, you start creating identity of your villages. And once you have an identity, you have a sense of belonging, you have a sense of exuberating interest to make it better for a higher quality of life. And that's when this relationship started to grow and become stronger and stronger, because the secret of the business are really relationships. Anything else follows. Money should never be an ultimate goal. It should be quality relationships, because money follows quality relationships. Money follows a good collaboration and co-creation. And of course, through that, you also can gain much more support and act in an integrated spirit. I would dare to say that this is essential in order to get a right to exist. Simple as that. This topic has been addressed not only on a political level, but also on a grassroots movements. I've been running for the last 8 months, so-called eco-civilization movement. And one of the tools that we use are eco-civilization talks, which were dedicated to communities, local communities and global communities. And it's interesting enough that what really came out is this, again, sense of relationship, trust, and trust can follow only transparency. That was so clearly stated. Whichever discussion we had, at the end, we came to the point that in order to develop trust, in order to develop values that really matter and can sustain on the long run, we need to have transparency. So think about that when you create enabling environments, that this transparency is well addressed. And what are really the challenges that we as a society, and of course smart villages included, will have to face? There's going to be ongoing discussion, and I'm inviting you, we'd love to learn from you, is the concept of ownership, accountability and stewardship of assets. being data in a modern world, or land, raw materials, or original thought. So that is something that is kind of keeps coming back as a topic of a discussion. Next one is, what is the societal focus and what are the priorities? Where does the public space fit in the whole picture? Because if we lose public space, we lose space where we can engage and where we can really create some transformative solutions. So please be aware of that. And that applies, of course, also for our inner world. There is a big elephant in the room, which is the ethical discourse about humanity, technology, and the planet. And the roots of eco-civilization are actually assuming that we brought the old communities to the verge of decadency, and we need to start observing new weak signals that will show us how to behave and what to do in order to spill over into a new civilizational paradigm, which will allow us again to come back to the roots, to come back to the essence, and sort of allow these decadent structures, models, and behaviors just dissolve themselves. And I could go on and on and on. So health and education are also very important topics. And right now there is a big discussion in Europe about people-centric health system, how to transform the system that completely dehumanized the process back into the really human-centric and care, instead of taking the patient as an object. We are trying to bring care back, the concept of care, and use technology as an important tool, including the avatars. Smart Village for Africa. Here, of course, I dare to provide some initial thoughts, which are from the European standpoint of view. So don't take them seriously, but use them as a provocation. So why would you want to enter the Smart Village, serious Smart Village sort of goal or destination? Is for sure to strengthen the role and identity of your local communities, and to curate really cooperation between rural and urban areas as well. But until the villages have their own identity, it's really hard to get into a serious cooperation with the cities. So how? By providing infrastructure. That will be a big challenge. And if you start with digital, that's okay. And then should follow the energy, and then of course transport too, but use modern services, demand-driven services, in order to provide such capacity. And when you ask what, I would always say digital, green, energy and mobility infrastructure, social services. This is an enormous opportunity there to bring more settled social services to rural areas, create safe spaces, and as we said already before, a sense of identity, and the concept of equality of rural life. But don't forget, you have a jewel in Africa, which the whole world is now waking up to, except Africa, I guess. It's so-called Ubuntu. I've learned that in different languages, this is expressed with different words, but the message is the same. I am because you are. And this powerful message that is so needed in the modern world is actually bringing us all together. And I'm happy to say that through some of your colleagues from Africa, we already in a discussion under their, of course, supervision to launch the Ubuntu year next year, that we can learn more and create more tools. Interesting enough, if you take a look at the internet and you take a look at the pictures, when you type in Ubuntu, you will only see some strange US-based IT companies and nothing about philosophy and this powerful message that you have in your culture. So if I fit at the end of my sort of speech, I'd like to come back to these three key questions. And I do want to encourage you that when you get engaged now over these 3 days, make sure you first answer the question why, because that will give you an incredible strength then to work on solutions on how and at the end on what. This is the core principle of innovation process. And no matter how we try to be sophisticated and make them more complicated, these 3 basic questions really work. So I really would like to wish you a really, really productive 3 days. I'm looking forward to see the results, and allow me at the end to say to all of you, have a healthy, loving, and peaceful holidays and a great start of 2021. And don't forget, together we know. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Madam Paulette. One thing that I have picked from your presentation is, as you were closing, you ended by saying, by echoing the Ubuntu. I think that that's something that that's there to unite of our kind of our of our economic status, size of our wallet of best. I think Ubuntu is something that acts as a unifying factor. You are because I am. So thank you so much, Madam Violeta Balk. It's always a pleasure to have you as at this juncture. I wish welcome from Technology Association of Zambia, Mr.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see you, Joseph. Good to see the team is back together again. So on behalf of the...
Yes, sir. I'm doing good.
All right. On behalf of the ICTSZ, the Information and Communication Association of Zambia, we would like to welcome everyone to the Great Zambezi Initiative. I think the Smart Village Challenge is going to be something that will have all of us open our eyes to the realities of what's happening in the rural areas, especially in between Zambia and Zimbabwe. We look forward to seeing solutions that will be able to help us address aspects, some homegrown solutions that will be able to address both aspects of rural area life in Zambia and in Zimbabwe. As ICTSZ, we are a partner and will always be available for innovation challenges and innovation in general. We look forward to the next 3 days. We will be available ourselves. Some of our different team members will join in at different points, but we're very happy that we are in this particular situation where we will be able to help and contribute. But we're also looking forward to Ubuntu, as the earlier speaker has mentioned. We want to learn from what our friends are doing, how can we implement it here, and how best can we grow our ICT fraternity. But most importantly, we also want to know how well these homegrown solutions we're building and these homegrown solutions we're making are actually impacting everyone. So we look forward as the ICTSZ to be part of this, and we also look forward to learning, and we look forward to sharing everything that we know so that we can make this a very successful event. I would like to end my welcoming remarks here, and then we see if we can proceed with the rest of the program, but we remain available for any specific challenges and any specific questions that may arise. We are here to represent the ICT Association of Zambia, which is a regulatory body, so we'll be able to assist in aspects of regulation. I think the earlier speakers picked on 1 or 2 items around regulation and how best our solutions can work well with the regulation that we need to have. So we look forward to learning and yeah, let's be safe and let's enjoy the sessions. Yeah, over to you, Joseph.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chistula, sir. That was short and straight to the point, right? Precise. Please do convey our regards and sincere appreciation to the ICTAS team for the continued support.
Thank you.
Right. So, so at this juncture, I wish to. This is then the moment that we've all been waiting for, just to hear from the startups and the different teams that we have on board. We're supposed to have Mara Jeanette to take us through the startup village consortium. However, she's not here, so we will then proceed to have the teams just share their ideas in 90 seconds exactly. So 90 seconds is 1 minute, 30 seconds. So in that 1 minute, you will be expected to pitch your idea, and that should be your problem, your solution, and where you are basically going as a startup. What does the future hold for you? So at this time, I wish to welcome that we okay. So at this time, I wish to welcome Esnat Hamianda. Esnat, are you here? Okay, I think we lost Esnat as well. Luchembe Chipasha. Luchembe was here. Let me just check if he's still in the room. Okay, Luchembe should be able to do it at a later stage as well. Nelly is not here as well. Okay, Obvious Kabinda. I think I saw Obvious here. Fortunately, he's not here as well. Virimai Mandaza. Virimai, you may take it up.